Sweet 16 action continues in East Rutherford. Wake Forest and St. Joseph's, the #1 seed in this bracket. The winner to play Oklahoma State on Saturday here in New Jersey. With the winner of that one advancing to San Antonio in the Final Four. The lineups presented by Pontiac, Eric Williams, Strickland, and the Demon Deacons at 21 and 9 on the year. Chris Paul, the sensational freshman at the guard position. Skip Prosser's third year at Wake Forest. On the other side for the Hawks, Wayne Jones, John Bryant, their big men, Pat Carroll, and that famed backcourt, Delonte West, Jameer Nelson. Head coach, Phil Martelli. And as for this St. Joe's story, there has been the added attention of a perceived running feud between Phil Martelli and my partner Billy Packer. All started with Billy's comments 11 days ago on the selection show when he questioned whether St. Joe's was a meritorious #1 seed. Martelli fired back angrily and created, I guess you'd have to say, a little firestorm was created. And yesterday, Billy, you two had a chance to say hello at the practice and everything was just fine.
You owe me a Papa John's. I've made your career. You owe me a Papa John's. I can sure find him one.
Got him a pizza?
But Jim, you know what's really interesting how this is all working out? Oklahoma State, that was the team that I thought belonged on the one line. If St. Joe's were to win this game tonight, we'll find out exactly who belonged on the one line. But a lot to be done before we get to that point.
St. Joe's in the white uniforms. Standout season 29 and 1. Ball tipped out to Paul and the Demon Deacons.
How about this matchup? Two of the top guards in the country. Nelson with the experience as a senior and the strength over Paul. Paul maybe with a little advantage quickness-wise.
Levy with the shot in the lane for the opening basket.
Moving the cheerleaders back and trying to get the hawk from flapping those wings. And I guarantee you that official's got no chance there.
Those wings will be flying all night long, as they always do.
Interesting here defensively for Wake Forest. You know that St. Joe's can do what we did not see in the first game, and that is a tremendous perimeter game.
West trying to bounce it in there and tipped out of bounds by Levy.
And Jim, what's so neat about college basketball? So many different ways to win games. And we saw the first game played an entirely different way than we'll see this game played. Stretch the defense by moving outside with tremendous perimeter shooting. The inside game then feast off.
This young man, Levy, very active here at the start with an opening basket.
Levy, one of those fellas listed at 6'9" or 10, plays as a 7-footer with that long wingspan. Little heads move there. Team has excellent spacing, does St. Joe. One of the reasons they're able to get the real good perimeter shots.
5 on the shot clock. Outside jumper, that's a 3, and a beautiful shot opening basket there by Pat Carroll.
Pat Carroll, a tremendous, the #1 3-point shooter in the Atlantic 10. This is going to be a key to the game right here. Eric Williams, young man, gets in all kinds of foul trouble. Can Wake Forest keep him on the floor? That's been a real problem for them throughout the course of this year.
Prosser said he'd just like to get him to that first timeout on the floor under 16 without a foul.
You know, one of the things about him, most of his fouls are foolish fouls, just reaching in. He gets caught on the hedge move a lot of time, and he just reaches for the guard.
Nice rub on Nelson. And the putback too strong. Boy, that was a good chance there for the cash-in by Jones.
There's Chris Paul, nice dish inside.
Beautiful lay-in, too, by Eric Williams.
And one of the things about Chris Paul, he pushes the ball up the floor beautifully. And good hands by Williams inside. He's got a lot of talent, but as I said, he spends so much time on the bench, usually picking up 3 fouls in a hurry. His minute count is way down. Strickland on West. Interesting matchup.
Back to West. He is really firing. Here's the jumper. And yes, Delonte West. We didn't see him miss in warm-ups.
What I like about West is his ability to use that step-back jump shot. He and Nelson have that down tremendous. And here's Nelson going right after Paul.
And a block foul called against John Bryant. And Wake Forest with wins in the first 2 rounds over Virginia Commonwealth by 1, and then Manhattan by 4.
Jim, if you look at Wake Forest in the games, the last 3 games they've played, Maryland shot 64%, VCU 51%, Manhattan 46%. So defense has really been a problem for Wake Forest.
And a good chance to push it up the floor. Nelson takes a nasty spill, but he's fine. Here comes Wake Forest with some numbers. Nelson late to get back, not able to take advantage as Jameer returns back to his position.
Good overplayed defense that time by West. Took away Wake Forest's opportunity. Paul's got his shirt out. I'm kind of surprised the ref doesn't make him tuck it back in.
Levy with a 3. Yes!
Good kick out. Paul taking up a lot of space right there by going inside, picking up a double team. So asking a lot for a freshman to play against a guy so crafty as Nelson. He's got a big advantage on strength.
And another steal. That pass just too firm for Bryant. Levy shot blocked by Bryant. And that one was off Paul. St. Joe's ball. Well, St. Joe's, the first 2 rounds of this tournament. Their road here to New Jersey. Coach Martelli, Liberty, and then Texas Tech.
Jim Levy really was kind of indecisive on that drive. Probably should have gone for the finish stronger. Would have at least picked up a foul. That ball hit off his leg on the way down. Good play by Bryant.
We saw West in the warm-up shooting shots from out of bounds and making them one after another from over in the bench area. And that's a charge. Charge on Bryant.
Strickland, a little bit too much quickness for Bryant to put that ball on the floor. Not what Phil Martelli would like.
And you were talking about how Eric Williams gets in foul trouble. That's 2 quick ones on John Bryant.
And a change will be made, and Phil Martelli will go big to small. Barley coming in the ball game.
Tyrone Barley.
Now this really helps St. Joe's in this respect. It takes Nelson off Paul, so he can spend his time refreshed a little bit defensively. And let's see if Nelson's gonna go down here and play against Justin Gray. And what's really, everybody's talked about Paul. Gray was a first-team All-ACC guard.
What a shot he
Beautiful
has
shot.
too. Beautiful rotation. And the basket there for Wake, 11-5. Demon Deacons.
Things really spread out. Levy on Carroll. Carroll having a hard time getting a shot over him.
Jones, short with the shot, and look at Eric Williams come back to get the rebound.
And those Wake Forest assistants are probably saying, beautiful crossover dribble.
Oh, puts it up, back to the rim.
And a steal, and a foul.
Yep, on Paul.
Paul probably didn't belong in there on that play, Jim. Went a little bit too deep on the penetration. Nobody in there to rebound or to hand off to.
Good start here by the Demon Deacons, leading 11-5. Oklahoma State has already advanced here tonight at this site. Jim Nance and Billy Packer, Bonnie Bernstein with us as well. And what about the tempo at the start here, Billy?
Jim, this is what I expected. Unlike the first game, I'd expect this game to be played in the 80s. And what I'm really expecting right now is Nelson to go ahead and step up and start taking over this game with the ball in his hands a little bit more, making himself more difficult to guard. Now, Strickland's going to be playing him. I think he can take Strickland, who has some size, but I think Nelson has the experience on it.
Talking about the National Player of the Year, and Nelson missed his first 2 attempts. Named the Naismith Award winner just yesterday.
There we see Williams getting excellent position on the inside on Jones, and they don't get him the ball early on. Barley outside, an excellent defensive player, 6th man of the year in the Atlantic 10. It's a tough assignment for Paul to be the guy that really knows how to play defensively.
Tough pass, but snagged with one hand by Strickland. Bounce pass inside, Levy underneath. Yes, able to really, that time, power it. You don't always say that with Levy. 7-0 run by Wake.
Jimmy has a great extension with those arms. As I said, he reaches up to be about a 7-foot player, not a 6'10" player as he's listed. Paul better get out there on West. He's giving him a lot of room to shoot that jump shot. Or Gray, rather.
And there's a reach-in foul called on Gray.
Jim, one of the things, and we saw this work so well by Air Force last week, as well as Princeton. When you have the perimeter game that can extend that defense, a lot of room inside for backdoor cuts. And West almost executed one perfectly there.
St. Joe's is gone now over 3 minutes.
There's
without
one.
Basket. And hold on here.
Oh, that was a block.
Gosh.
Skip Crosser, I think the official shielded a little bit on the play, Prosser, as you can see. And there may be a little advantage in this respect, Jim. Prosser has coached against St. Joe's when he was at Xavier. May have a little advantage there in regard to style of play played in the Atlantic 10.
2 shots for Jones.
And you know, we saw something in the first game. Eddie Sutton, who was the first man ever to take 4 different teams to the NCAA tournament, Skip Prosser, in a very young age, finds himself in that same category, which is rather incredible for a guy to be able to build programs that quickly.
Kyle Visser in for the Demon Deacons, number 55, and Teron Downey, number 4, for Wake, seeing his first action.
So now we have 2 players on the floor. Barley, a great 6th man. Downey is as well. Both have had starting assignments. Good defensive movement.
Bakaitis right here, defending number 13 on the floor for the first time for the Hawks. Ball up in the air. Ball tipped out, saved by Strickland. He's down just into the game. Quick pass inside, Levy. To the line.
Very good passing and recognition by Paul on the inside. Eric Williams, who started well and has not yet picked up a foul. Good, strong rebound. This young man has had some sensational games. Probably the best he played all year was that triple overtime win against North Carolina.
Well, more for Levy, who has certainly been a key part of this 14-6 start for Wake. Got them both.
Wake Forest goes to that line 117 times more than their opponents. Over 800 free throws they've attempted this year. Nelson ought to take Strickland off the dribble.
Visser now comes way out, leaving his man open underneath.
Nice fake.
Stakaitis. Push off called on Visser.
Visser, a freshman who shows a lot of potential. But a good job by Jones to recognize that he's playing against a guy with a lot less experience and takes him on that dribble.
They weren't expecting a lot out of Visser this freshman season. Gray comes back into the lineup. Paul will get a breather. Visser comes right out in his first ACC game at North Carolina with 13 points. Stakaitis too strong with that one, and Downey will bring it up for the Demon Deacons.
Second pull-up jump shot. That time Visser almost had a hands on the ball. And here's Nelson in the open court.
Visser,
Beautiful cut.
trying to get back there in time, but Nelson will take it all the way to the hole for his first points.
We saw Krauser in that first game with that upper body strength and power. Good pickup.
That field goal breaks a 4.5-minute stretch without one. And a little helter-skelter stretch here for Wake.
Nice defense by St. Joe's. I really like the way Barley's putting a lot of pressure on this ball. Every pass seems to be a challenge.
Here's Gray. Got by his defender and takes advantage.
Good no foul by West on that play. Gray had the shot instead of West trying to block it. Just stayed away from him, played position defense. Even though the shot went in. There's the backdoor cut.
Titus in traffic, and that one's on Wake.
I think it's going to be on Visser, stepping over a little late. Good backdoor cut by Stakaitis.
That was on Levy, and that's 2 on Levy.
Well, that's going to bring in Danilus. Now, this is quite a story here, this young man, Jim. Could you imagine, because of injuries, he has never been the player expected of him this year. Matter of fact, preseason first team all-conference, and has been relegated primarily to not playing at all or being a sub.
Danilus, number 13 on the floor. Here's West, the one-hander. Danilus right in with a rebound.
I think Wake Forest will be smart to keep that ball away from Barley as a defender. Barley is really doing an excellent job out here on the ball.
Outside jumper, off the mark for Gray.
Good rebound, Jones. He's having a good first half.
Cross-court pass, Barley, three-point shot, yes!
Good job by St. Joe getting the ball down on transition. Barley, a terrific lift. As I said, the best sixth man in the Atlantic 10 this year. A lot of experience. He's doing a good job defensively.
They call him the defender. There he is all over Downey right now.
Almost a 5-second call, and he got it. Great job. Wake Forest not doing a good job recognizing how Barley is taking the dribble away from the guards.
Jamal Levy with 9 points for the Demon Deacons. There he is. Thumbs up start for him. Wake in front.
This backcourt we're looking at with Nelson and West out there have been matched up with 2 guys named Guy Rogers and Hal Lear.
Simple guys.
They were as good a backcourt as I've ever seen in my life. In school at the same time, probably that Cosby was.
Delonte West with a 3. Yeah, they've been comparing this backcourt to the greatest of all time in Philadelphia, and that's the backcourt everyone has tried to draw that comparison to.
A little loose inside, got position.
Oh, and that's a foul, I believe, on West. No, it's going to be instead on Stakaitis. Make sure you vote for your starting forwards on the Pontiac All-Time Tournament team. You can cast your ballot now at ncaasports.com/Pontiac.
Yeah, that Hal Lear team got to the Final Four, and he was the MOP. Although he was not on the winning team at that time, but an incredible backcourt, left-handed player, both of them. Guy Rogers, one of the great ball handlers of all time.
We talk so much about this backcourt. We've heard about this fine duo of Delonte West, Jameer Nelson all season long, but I would think these Wake guys, the Wake backcourt, relishes this night here tonight. They'll show them something here.
You have the man with the ball in his hands as a senior. You've got the guy guarding him right now, a freshman, so there is quite a bit of difference there, Jim. Good crossover dribble. Good kick out.
Barley, Stakaitis.
Oh, there's one of those fouls on Williams that I've been talking about that gets him in trouble. The ball is not going to come his way. The ball is going in the other direction, and he will pick up a cheap foul. And this has been his nemesis the entire season, and maybe, for that matter, his entire young career.
And Carroll comes back in. Stakaitis back to the bench. Barley with the 3. Oh, off the front of the rim.
Good job by Barley. Referee's going to tell West not to touch the ball after it went through.
Barley's now hit 2 3-pointers in this game.
And not only that, he has really taken away Wake Forest guards' ability to penetrate. And here's Nelson, the all-time steal leader, not a bad guy to cause that problem as well.
The 9-1 run here for St. Joe's, and a hold inside called on Carroll.
Jim, it's not the first time that Barley's given him a lift. He had three of three threes in the second half against Gonzaga to get everything rolling for St. Joe's early in that game, a big win over Gonzaga.
Here's Gray, jumper over West. And
good block
box out indeed by Carroll.
Nice run here by St. Joe's. Get back in this ball game. Got a chance to take the lead.
Nelson steps in, driving, back out Barley. Can he make a 3? Not this time, but West with the putback.
Pretty good pass. I really enjoyed the fact that Nelson realized there was traffic on the inside. Terrific kick-out pass on his part.
11-1 run to come back from 9 down to take the lead midway through the first half.
Jim, a terrific job by Nelson. Watch him make the penetration, and then he has the ability to see the floor. Never gets in a hurry. Puts the ball on the floor. He's got the strength to take it, sees the floor, kicks it out. Terrific job. Now West, who is an excellent rebounder for a guard, puts that ball back in. St. Joe's takes the lead, 19-18. And again, if I'm Wake Forest, I keep that ball away from Barley. I realize that Paul is an outstanding player, and he does a smart thing. Get it away. Make Carroll stop the primary ball handler.
Justin Gray drives in. They had the bounce pass right there for Eric Williams.
Williams took his eye off it.
Here's West spinning, putting up the shot. Beautiful off the glass. 3-point lead.
Terrific job by West. He's going to come back with that left hand. Downey is a left-hander himself. Didn't recognize in time.
Up in the corner, yes. Justin Gray has just hit a 3-point tying shot for Wake. Here's St. Joe's in the white uniforms. Had a 13-1 run before that 3. They brought them back from 9 down to put them in front. And that'll be Wake ball.
That shot was set up by Nelson, setting a good screen down and low. Danilous didn't get there in time and didn't block out the shooter. Got lucky.
The St. Joe's team, the first school to go through the regular season undefeated for the first time since UNLV back in 1991. Then bounced out big time in the first round of the Atlantic 10 tournament by Xavier, which had a lot of people take a second look at this team, but looking good here at the start with a nice comeback from 9 down.
Wake Forest goes to a little 1-4 high set, bad pass.
Stolen away, Jameer Nelson. Up ahead, West. Oh, perfect. Up high. What a touch.
How about that? Not only the touch, but how about that hit ahead? Two guys that really know how each other wants to play. That's going to be Nelson not getting there in time.
Boy, he had to take a punishing blow, too.
But that is a play made by two guys that really know each other well. Not only a great steal by Nelson, but then that hit ahead thrown right over the top of Paul. The left-hander lays it up nice and soft.
Yeah, he laid it up there above the window pane.
Switch made. Surprised Paul didn't keep that dribble alive either.
Rich had to go a while without Levy on the bench with 2 fouls, and Williams touched it last. St. Joe's ball.
Good block by Jones. Williams had low post position. Didn't hang on strong. The floor is very wet where Nelson fell down, Jim, and the players rightfully are asking a little bit of a sweep-up action here.
Oklahoma State down the stretch today. They broke open a 42-all game and went on to win by 12. So they're in the regional final here, awaiting the winner of this one.
And what we see is that Phil Martelli has forced Wake Forest to match his 3-guard lineup. Carroll now, Danilou sees the man bring it up. That puts Jameer Nelson all the way down. A switch by Paul. Key to this comeback has been Barley on both ends of the floor.
Barley with a couple of threes and great defense. West, that's a tough pass inside, somehow saved by Barley. 8 on the shot clock.
Got the ball in the hands of the right guy.
He takes the shot way outside, front of the rim. Carroll keeps it alive. Nelson inside. Layup, yes.
Now Eric Williams has got to be smart enough to realize that Nelson taking it inside, you've got to force him to do something before you just give up on it.
And Williams answers at the other end. Big man with 6.
A lot different than that first game. Open looks. Plays on the inside. The ball is spread way out because both teams have a perimeter game. You've got to play them out there.
In traffic, that taken away by Downey, but then the toss away to Carroll.
A little different than that pass that Nelson just made to West.
So this is a double up here. Nelson do some business with West. And it's off Delonte. One of his rare miscues. He's got 11 points to lead the way for the Hawks. Again, 9 down early in this game. St. Joe's leads it by 2. Levy has 9 to lead Wake. He's on the bench with 2 fouls. Delonte West with 11. By the way, Paul so far in this game, Billy, 2 shots, both missed, no points, average 15 a game.
I think really what has changed this game as much as anything is Tyrone Barley coming in there and doing the tremendous job. I realize he hit some shots, but he has really shut down the Wake Forest guards with his outstanding defense. You think back a year ago, Troy Bell, one of the top players in the East and in the country, that matter, from a standpoint of his guard play. Barley held him to 2 for 14 shooting. So obviously he's capable of playing against anybody.
They bring Levy back into the game, Billy, with the 2 fouls.
Downey having all kinds of trouble bringing it up against Barley or Nelson. Nelson feels it too. He's looking for steals. Trying to get a little high-low action here with Williams down inside. He and Levy. 3 seconds. And that was because Levy didn't deliver the ball to Williams, who really had position.
West hitting shots from the outside, like we said. We saw him put on quite a performance. Just shooting from the bench area during warm-ups.
Now, Jim, he's always under control. He's got that left-hand shot, and once he developed the outside perimeter shot, which he did not have as a freshman, so you got to give him a lot of credit for working on that development. Nice step back.
Nelson, this one doesn't fall, but a hold here.
Oh,
this is going to be on Eric Williams.
There was a push on the other side of the lane, but there's Williams, as I said, constantly getting himself in foul trouble.
That's the 7th team foul. It'll be a 1-on-1. Jones to the line. Visser back in for Wake. Williams has to go out. It's the 2nd foul on Williams. 1-on-1.
Jim, there's not much damage you can do if you're going to be out there on the sidelines all the time, and that's what happened. 7 of the last 19 games he's fouled out. In 8 other games, he's had 4 fouls.
Outside, Paul. First points of the night, a 3.
Marley was counting on him, putting the ball on the floor for the drive. Good, smart play by Paul picking up.
That basket gets right back in front by 1.
Always under control is the St. Joe team. Doesn't look like they're ever in a hurry.
Nelson. Yes, beautiful 3 at his end.
Loves that shot. Puts his head down, giving you the idea that he's going to penetrate, and then just picks up.
Paul off the glass. No, erased it down the floor. Visser steals it back and gets the basket. Big play by the freshman.
Paul having problems getting something to drop on that outside shot. It's getting penetration. Awful quick with that ball.
Jameer. Wow, 30-28, St. Joe's.
Marley again picking up full court. Nelson with that upper body strength. Reminds me a lot of Pearl Washington in his freshman and sophomore year at Syracuse. He's got that strength. He was low to the floor. They're so powerful. They're not going to take it away from him.
That's a challenge. Carroll dumps it off. Hold on, it's going the other way. Charge called on. That's his ball.
And that's Barley, who did a good job because that was an easy 2 for Wake Forest.
That's 2 on Paul.
He's going to have to sit. That brings Justin Gray back in the ball game. Solid player, but nowhere near the ball handler or penetrator that is Paul.
So Williams, Paul, and Levy all with 2 each. Way out there, Nelson. Nope. And Downey with the rebound for the Demon Deacons. Gray, 3-point shot. Yes.
Justin Gray, as I said, first team all-conference in the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's a league that had plenty of guards. For a quality player. Oh, there is a play now.
Yeah,
Gray had last year against Duke, Gray had a broken jaw that sat him down for a number of games. He showed a lot of courage when he came back, had a great game in Winston-Salem against Duke, but he took one on the chin there. Nice job by Carroll, anticipating that solid screen by Levy.
Gray got that feeling. Back to the rim this time. Soaring through, it's Strickland. And 1.
That was a smart play by Gray. He realized that Carroll's not quick enough to stop him on the outside and was able to get that open shot. Pretty good rebound by Strickland on the inside. This Wake Forest team does not have a scholarship player in the senior class, so it's a team with an awful lot of potential.
Foul was on Dave Mallon, who was taken out of the game. Strickland unable to improve the 3-point play, but it's a Wake Forest 33-30 lead.
West moving very well without the ball. He's got Levy on him. It'd be a good idea, I think, for St. Joe's to get the ball. West hands pick up that 3rd foul on Levy. Switch is made there. Strickland off it.
West, 3-point shot.
Got hit on the arm, no call.
Downey will bring it up.
Boy, I love the way Barley moves his feet defensively. How about he's always squared up for him? Fun to watch it.
Bundle of energy. The super sub has played well here in this first half. Look at Visser. Strong with the shot. Carroll flips it out.
Pretty good defensive job by Jones on the freshman.
Carroll, 3. That ties it.
Levy has to realize Carroll is not going to put the ball on the floor and dribble by him. Carroll really picked up his shooting. He had a little slump coming down the end of the season, but he's picked it up now, right back to where he is, just like his brother, the tremendous shooter at Notre Dame.
His brother went to the Sweet 16 last year. Answering back at the other end, that's the basket by Teron Downey.
Now, Carroll's having a problem matching up with the Wake Forest guards. He's a lot better off if he gets stuck with Strickland. There you see Strickland looking right at Nelson's stomach defensively. That was very interesting to see how he's wanting to watch Nelson. Here's a tough matchup for Carroll. Gray knows it too. He's going to keep the ball in his hands and try to beat him off the dribble.
He steps back for the three.
Yes. That's a bad matchup for St. Joe.
That's a 2, not a 3.
So where is there an advantage to turn it the other way around? I think Nelson can take Strickland.
87-33 Wake Forest. Approaching 2 minutes to go in the half. Pass, got it inside to Jones. Boy, he had to thread that one.
Great catch. Terrific pass off the dribble by West. They're having all kinds of problems with these guys.
Downey with a wild shot. It's going to go to St. Joe's. Ray with 12 points, leading all scores. 37-35, Wake Forest.
Jim, this is a great offensive set up by Coach Martelli. Solid screens out on the top. Now then there's screens down inside for West. He's going to pick up one, then he rubs off and gets the second one. Turns, takes that left-handed shot. Tough place for a left-hander to shoot down in that corner. But good characteristics by West. We'll go ahead and square up before he made the catch. Fine play.
But West has not scored since the 9-minute mark. And a quick 11 minutes into the game.
But what I like about these two guards, Jim, not only are they talented, but they're very patient. You don't see them panicking in any way, shape, or form. They don't try to do things outside the offensive set. And yet they can explode any minute. What really made that play is anytime Nelson has the ball in his hands, everybody from Wake Forest has to anticipate he's going to put the ball on the floor and beat his man to the hoop. As an example. As an example. As an example. And so if you're playing inside, you have got to be aware of his ability to take it all the way to the glass, and when you do that, that allows those screens to be much more effective. That's why he's the Naismith Player of the Year.
Approaching a minute to go in the half with the game tied. Strickland stuck, puts up the shot. Then loose underneath. And a call against St. Joe's. Reminder coming up, singular at the half. Greg Clark and Seth. Latest tournament news and a live look at Alabama-Syracuse game. Singular one-on-one challenge. Billy Packer Trivia Challenge also coming up on singular at the half. Alabama now carrying the whole load now for the SEC. The last team remaining as Vanderbilt went out earlier this evening.
What's really amazing, this young man last year was third in the ACC in free throw shooting percentage, 78%. I don't think I've ever seen a player that his game has completely disintegrated because of injury coming back. It's basically shut him down for the entire year.
It's 1-2 for
that
the lead.
Step back jumper.
Visser retrieves it for Wake Forest.
I'm surprised that Nelson took that shot, unless they were thinking about 2 for 1.
14-second differential here. Demon Deacons with a 1-point lead.
He wants to clear out. Yep.
It's up a tough shot, and Jones blocks it.
Good job.
Nelson with 20 seconds to go. Timeout called.
That was a good job by St. Joe not committing the foul. Gray goes down and stays there.
So it'll set up. Martelli and company will set up one last shot before the half. Down 1. Billy, your first chance to see St. Joe's in person this season. Your thoughts?
Well, this is a beautifully coached basketball team. Phil Martelli was the coach of the year this year. And you know, some guys are born to coach. It's what they want to do. It's the only thing they want to do. And in his particular case, I think it's interesting that he finally got the job that he wanted. You know, guys grow up in Philly. They keep up with Big Five basketball as a kid. They go to games in the Palestra, and someday they wish that, you know, maybe I can become Jack Ramsey. And for Phil Martelli, that's been a dream come true.
He used to take the 36 trolley to the Palestra. See those doubleheaders on Fridays and Saturday nights. Find a way to sneak in, get around a $2 ticket, and watch St. Joe's. And now he's leading them here in the round of the Sweet 16 with 5 seconds to go in the half. Over to West. He must put it up. West shot. Nope. And Wake Forest goes to the locker room with the 1-point lead. With 4 ties in the half, 6 lead changes. West and Nelson, 11 points each. On the St. Joe's side, Wake Forest led by Justin Gray with 12. What? Greg and company in the studio in just a moment. The backcourt of St. Joe's with the Hawks outstanding in that first half. 11 points each for Nelson and West. And they'll have the ball to begin the second half. Billy, what do you look for?
Well, I think Nelson's going to continue to get that St. Joe offense organized. I thought Barley was really the difference in that first half. He came off the bench and did a great job. Obviously not starting here in the second. I don't think it'll be too long before we'll see him in there. Wake Forest had a hard time handling him.
Nelson had to get stretched out on the sideline right before the half began.
He has had some problems with his back.
West driving the baseline now with 13.
That's the second time that St. Joe's been warned for catching the ball. They actually should have a technical foul right now, and that is exactly what Skip Prosser is saying. Remember, West down on the other end of the floor did the same thing. This official giving a warning. Skip Prosser saying, hey, you don't get 2 warnings. That was quite a drive there, Jim, because West drove against Levy, who's an excellent shot blocker.
Levy didn't want to pick up that quick third, it looked like, to begin the second half. Inside they go. Eric Williams on the way up, and we'll send him to the line.
That one, Bryant on the foul.
Now for Bryant, it's now 3 on Bryant. There's your first half numbers, Billy.
Well, 3-point field goals. St. Joe's, who this year had made 20 against Temple, which set a new Atlantic 10 record. So they're not on that track right now, but shooting very well from the outside. Shooting actually 48% in the first half. And what's surprising to me, Wake Forest shot 53%. And St. Joe's normally holds teams considerably below that. Chris Paul, not a major factor offensively in the first half. I think he was bothered by the defense against him by Barley, Nelson, and West.
We had our 8th lead change in the game. Paul made only 1 basket in that half, a 3. That's a player who had 30 in the ACC tournament game against Maryland.
Paul's on Bryant right now. St. Joe's got to get him the ball. Big, and with Paul having 2 fouls on him, but smart to get him the ball.
Nelson with the turnaround.
A shot.
And Strickland chases it down in the corner.
Oh, what a flop.
Going to get Strickland.
Smart play by West, but Strickland had no reason to challenge him down there. Watch this right here. Little contact, and there goes the big flop, and a good acting job by West. He gets by with it.
Those Hawks can flap and flop.
Yep. As soon as he felt the contact, that was a good smart play. And a big turnover for Wake Forest. What a move. You know, this floor is a little slippery right there. That happened to Nelson in the first half. It may have been one of the things that caused him some problems with his back.
Well, that's exactly where Delonte West fell on the floor drawing the charge. They didn't pick up the wet spot, didn't dry it off. And then Carroll hits the shot for yet another lead change. If you look at the tournament summary, again, the SEC is down to 1 team. Kentucky, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Florida, Mississippi State, all eliminated. Only Alabama now carrying the banner for that league and trying to hold on against Syracuse. We'll keep you posted.
Here it is. Can Paul get on track against the more mature Nelson here in the second half? Good defense.
4 in that game. Strickland way outside. He'll give it over to Levy, who got off to a big start in this game, but then slowed down with 2 fouls. He'll drive the lane. Picks up the shot, had to improvise, and that's going to be on John Bryant.
And you know what that's going to do, don't you? It's going to bring Barley right into the ball game here. And that will take them from a big team to a small team, but
didn't bother him in the first half.
Sure didn't.
Young man from Panama City, Panama will shoot 2. That beautiful stroke. And 10 points, 10 rebounds in the opening round. Squeaker over VCU. Came back with 12 points in the win over Manhattan.
Then you got a beautiful stroke on a guy shooting 59%, but it was a fine-looking free throw. It is kind of amazing sometimes when you see a fella that's got a good release and a nice follow-through, stays with his shot, and shooting under 60. How long can Paul be patient? It's a big experience for him going out and playing against a guy that's that good. No call here. And you can slide with the ball when you get it. Nice hustle.
That's exactly what Pat Carroll did. Now Barley over to West. He's got the feet planted. Up to a high with the rebound. Williams and a quick outlet over to Paul.
That's where Paul's dangerous, bringing that ball up the court.
Levy, good hands. Inside, not able to finish it. Strickland, though, for the Demon Deacons. On the baseline. Levy underneath.
Can't finish again. Good move inside that time by Carroll.
Up ahead, Jones. Good snag. Gives it over to Nelson.
Oh, what hands!
But what a pass, though. Dwayne Jones with the one-handed snag and saw their leader, Jameer, and he makes the catch right here.
Paul did not realize Nelson was behind him.
Oh, we got a little shield from West who puts up the shot. Nope, hold on a minute, foul first.
Foul on the grab that time. A terrific job by Nelson, and Paul, who didn't count the numbers when he was going down court. Nelson coming behind. Was that a push?
Push on West.
Yeah.
That's his second. St. Joe's leads by 2.
Paul has been absolutely outstanding in this NCAA tournament so far. Many people calling him the best guard they had seen, but tonight he's getting a real experience. That's a hold.
That's going to be on Jameer Nelson. So what did I do? His second. 2 on West, 2 on Nelson. Seconds apart.
Bobby Gonzalez of Manhattan, who's seen a lot of guards play, he said that he thought that Paul was the best guard he had seen all year. But he's really getting an experience lesson here tonight. And there's another turnover by Wake Forest. Paul hit it.
No, they're going to say it's Wake ball off Nelson last. Four quick team fouls here on the Hawks in this half.
Third man coming back here to handle the ball. Better get back in a hurry.
Have to go cross court over to Strickland.
Wake Forest not set up very well on that play. Big advantage to St. Joe.
Wake's on 5.5 minutes now, going back to the closing stages of the first half. 5.5 minutes without a field goal.
Williams down inside.
He wants it on the blocks.
He's so strong in there, but puts up the shot. Nobody there. Nice rebound by West. Terrific rebounder for a second guard.
Really out-battled Levy for that board.
He loves the back end coming left.
Go to his left, yes. Gets it out. That was over the back. Called on Dwayne Jones. That's 3 on Jones. They're 2 big players in foul trouble. Jones with 3, Bryant with 4.
Jim, we saw Pace from Syracuse last week wanting to bring back to the left. Now, he can only go left. The thing that makes it so tough with West is he can go either way, plus has that little step-back jump shot. Very difficult to defend.
Look at Barley all over Levy.
Yeah, you don't want Levy out there with Barley handling the ball.
Inside to get it to Williams. Tough move, and he'll go back to the line. Muscling inside, and look at him.
Looks like Wake Forest wanting to go inside time after time now.
That's the 4th on Jones, and we remind you, if you're looking for live scores or updated brackets from all the games, you'll find it at cbssportsline.com. We're getting some serious foul issues now on the Hawks.
And this is a nice move here by Phil Martelli. He's going to go ahead and play his 2 big guys, hoping that he can steal some minutes for Jones right now, because Jones is the one he'd like to have on the floor at the end of this ball game. So he brings Bryant right back in, even though he has 4, knowing Jones will be more valuable to him under 10 minutes.
They have 16 fouls too, Billy. Only 4 minutes and change into this half.
That's long. Wake Forest, as I pointed out, Jim, they go to that foul line a lot more than their opponents.
We're heading in that direction right now.
Nice backdoor cut.
Nelson in the lane. Beautiful shot off the glass. Boy, he's got some artsy moves around the hoop. Look at this steal. Barley with the three.
I'm surprised he took that shot. West could have got a foul right there.
Looked like a little bump with the body, but he got away with it.
Yeah, with the score 45-42, do you want to take that outside jump shot with nobody underneath? Wake Forest dodged one there. Oh, they are going into Williams.
And that's a traveling call on Williams. All 4 points for Wake in this half have come from the free throw line. Martelli has directed his team to the 3-point lead. All right, we're back here with St. Joe's leading by 3. And there's Judy Martelli, quite a phenomenal player in her own right. She played for 3 national championship teams at Immaculata.
And met Phil at a basketball camp to the great Kathy Rush, who she played for, introduced by Dick Weiss, the reporter. Kind of interesting there, and now they certainly have a basketball life together.
And you saw the daughter Elizabeth there as well. Back in the old AW days, Immaculata was quite a power, and Judy won 3 championships. Nelson takes the defender to the floor. Baseline, back out.
Kick out.
Yep. 15 seconds on the shot clock. West flings it. Yes, top of the key.
Barley made that play. Barley having a terrific game here. I realize that he's playing with 2 more heralded players, and obviously they should be, but he is having a terrific game on both ends of the floor.
Largest lead of the game for the Hawks.
Chris Paul still a no factor for Wake Forest, and that shows you how well Barley is playing. There's a hold inside. Nope.
Going against Wake.
It's a good run here by St. Joe. The more experienced team, in particular those experienced guards, setting things up nicely.
That foul was called, Billy, on Justin Gray. We still have not seen Wake with a basket this half. They've committed 5 turnovers. The other thing is 5.5 minutes in the half, they only attempted 3 field goals.
Here's Nelson again with that experience, spreading everybody out. I think that floor really is slipping. You know, Nelson almost went down there again. Pulling it out, nobody in the low post, so everything is wide open. Tough shot.
West doesn't get this one to go. And Strickland comes out.
He doesn't know Nelson's behind him. Good play.
Up ahead, 2-on-1. Nelson and back to West. No, taken away by Paul. Stellar play right there. Strickland back outside, passing up the 3. Gray drives in, too strong. Levy plucks it out of the air. Put back, yes.
That was a surprising turnover by Nelson because he had West to his left, and he will make that play. Pretty good choice there for Chris Paul to keep his hand down low on the floor.
That was a 4-point turnaround,
yep,
Billy.
Sure was.
An 8-point lead.
That was Nelson again coming behind Strickland. Strickland has to be aware of him.
Carroll with the 3 for the Hawks. Paul racing it up the floor and a reach in on Carroll. Boy, that put back by Levy a moment ago ends the field goal dry spell of 9 minutes, 39 seconds.
Well, Wake Forest tried to go into Williams and thought they were doing a good job getting both Jones and Bryan in foul trouble, but it basically took away some of their half-court strategy that they've used before and definitely took away any outside shooting opportunities.
Again, those early fouls in this half by St. Joe's. We're already in the bonus now, the 1-and-1 for Wake. They'll send Paul to the line. 29 points against Manhattan. You're talking about what Bobby Gonzalez said about this freshman from Louisville, North Carolina. Not only 29 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks.
And quite a battle this year for the ACC Rookie of the Year, Luol Deng of Duke, who's still alive in this NCAA tournament. Paul, the victor in that particular voting.
Did it surprise you?
2 outstanding players. Well, that was really a tough one to call.
Paul beats him out. Deng finishing the runner-up. Rookie of the Year in the league. And look at this. It's all Jameer Nelson that time.
A lot of strength there to hang on to that ball down low inside. Williams, good double down.
Oh, that pass almost got away. What a nice save by Gray.
St. Joe's doing a great job doubling down inside.
Look at this again, power move by Williams. Timeout called by Wake.
St. Joe maybe showing us a little zone now to handle that inside power with their two big men in serious foul trouble.
Nelson driving his team to the 5-point lead.
St. Joe's leading Wake by 5. Jameer Nelson in this game setting the all-time postseason scoring record as well as the career steals mark for St. Joe's. And when he decided to stick around his senior year, Phil Martelli said, you know what, I'm stepping everything up all around. The expectations of my coaches, conditioning for the players, the publicity we want to get for Jameer because he deserves it. And the result, Jim, Nelson was named the Naismith Player of the Year this week.
Yes, indeed, Bonnie. The honors keep coming in. He was going to leave school last year, but decided to return back in June, and boy, he thankfully did. Here's West on a hold outside. Levy whistled for that. His third.
Levy, a good defensive player, made All-ACC defensive team, but it shows you how good West is. Levy had to stay with him even with a lot more size. He can't back off because West has that step-back jump shot.
Those two guards have combined for 33 of St. Joe's 53. They usually get about half the team points, the two guards. Barley had to pick up his dribble. Gets a little safety foul here with Carroll.
Good job by Carroll coming out to pick that ball up. Great an outlet pass. And St. Joe's get you so far away from the basket, Jim, with the great perimeter shooting that they have. It leaves the middle so open for backdoor cuts.
Nelson backed up jumper, and Paul didn't have a body on Barley for the box out, and it cost him. West going to switch off here. Inside three, they get the ball inside and a foul. And Bryant will shoot free throws.
Jim, such great patience by St. Joe pulling that ball out. The guards force the defense to make mistakes and then they make plays. You know, when I look at West here and you think that when he was a freshman, he took 17 three-point shots and made 2. And now look, that's 11%. Now look at him, he just drains it. And even with, as I said, Levy before guarding him, realizing you cannot give him any room whatsoever, he'll put that jump up against you.
One more at the line. Check out this form right here, Billy. St. Joe's was down 1 at halftime, now leading by 5 with 12 minutes to go. And John Bryant missing 2 at the line.
Well, if you're Wake Forest, you say Chris Paul has not done anything. St. Joe's got problems with their big men in foul trouble, but their guards are just so good. And here we see St. Joe's playing the zone in there.
Open shot, yes! From the outside, it's Downey with the 3.
St. Joe, because they're trying to steal some minutes for their big men, with Jones on that bench, they've gone to the zone. Downey recognizing actually was outside the range for Nelson to get there.
St. Joe's had a largest lead of 7 just a few moments ago. That's the 5th 3 of the night for Wake. 5 out of 8 as a team. Wide open from the corner. Yes, answering right back. It's Barley.
And there again, West being able to keep that head up. Look at the problems Barley's causing for Paul. Paul normally breaks down a man with that dribble of his.
Inside Williams beats his man Bryant, who's saddled with 4 fouls. We appear headed for a great finish here with the winner to take on Oklahoma State Saturday. Williams almost called for that. Nelson short on the lay-in.
Pretty good defense that time.
Oh, kicked out by Paul.
Pretty good defense by Downey that time. Nelson, when he gets inside with those wide shoulders, usually puts that away.
The Hawks have hit 9 out of 18 from 3. That's West. He's doing it all. We're back in East Rutherford. Jim Nance, Billy Packer, Bonnie Bernstein. St. Joe's leads and has made only 1 free throw in this game. 3-point lead. What do you expect we're going to see now?
Look what they're doing from that 3-point range.
50%.
Yep, shooting 50% from 3. They get good looks, and that's because those guards are so experienced, Jim. They spread the defense out. Nobody in the low post. So you've got the threat of the backdoor cut. You have the threat of Nelson breaking you down off the dribble. So when you collapse a little bit, the ball's kicked out. West has done a terrific job along with Carroll and Barley hitting those jump shots when they're open. There's Nelson's strength again.
Yep. Nelson pushing away from Levy, able to get free. West Picks up the short shot, yes.
That little pullback jumper. He takes you and puts that shoulder down as if he's going all the way and then pulls back with that jumper. So much under control.
St. Joe's shooting 50% from 3, 48% from 2, and 20% from the free throw line. There's a back end. Williams, ball deflected, but right into the arms of Gray.
Williams wants it back again. Bryant on him. He's got to get out of that 3-second lane.
Gray had 12 in that first half. Not much going in the second half, and Paul has been shut down almost all night. Levy, three-point shot.
Hit the three-point shot early in the ball game. Great steal by Nelson.
And Nelson bats it right off of Williams. It'll be the Hawks' ball.
Terrific steal against a guy with much more size.
St. Joe's, the 1 seed in East Rutherford, is leading by 5, again fueled by that dynamic backcourt of Delonte West and Jameer Nelson.
And Jim, what Phil Martelli is able to do with this hanging on to this lead is keep Jones on that bench.
A whistle inside, tough shot, Barley with his back to the basket. He'll go to the line for 2.
Great breakdown dribble by West on the inside. You know, it's interesting, both of these teams last year, St. Joe in the first round lost to Auburn. Then Wake, yeah. Now, another thing that both of these teams did in an NCAA tournament, Wake Forest, a huge upset. Ray Meyer's last game that he ever coached in 1984. Wake Forest beat him in overtime 73-71, and who will ever forget in 1981 when Jimmy Lynam, an outstanding player at St. Joe's and also a great coach there and one of the real great basketball minds that came off that Jack Ramsey tree, led his team to a defeat of Ray Meyer back in '81, the NCAA tournament. So a little bit of connection there between these clubs.
Levy out with the 4 fouls. Danilous comes back in. Visser also for Wake Forest. Yeah, that was that wild day back in '81. We had a number of upsets just seconds apart. DePaul falling to St. Joe's, Kansas State, and Oregon State. Some would say that was one of the best games in early round action in the tournament. Rondo Blackman. Here's Gray with the shot from the baseline. They needed that.
They really did, but you know, you have the feeling right now that Nelson and West are in such control of this ball game. They never get impatient. Great drive to the inside, and even over Visser, who's 6'10", Nelson actually comes up to about his shoulder line and still gets the shot off.
Oklahoma State advanced earlier tonight here in East Rutherford. The game was tied, 7 minutes to go, 42-all. And then outscored Pittsburgh the rest of the way by a 21-9 margin.
Jim, we talked about in this tournament, and you see it so often, about basketball IQ. And the thing that you have to like about Nelson, in addition to his ability to shoot the ball, dribble the ball, play defense, anticipate on the steals, he has great basketball IQ, and he forces that defense to go ahead and think sometimes he's going to take the ball in penetration or pull back for the jump shot. And when you think he's going to take the jumper, he goes for penetration. Really knows how to play, and this is one thing that Chris Paul, although he has a lot of talent for a freshman, it's going to take him some time to develop that same technique.
Alabama knocking out Syracuse tonight. We're going the other way. We will not have a repeat champion this year as the Orangemen go out here in the round of the Sweet 16.
There is West. He's on Danilous, a guy who has much more size, and who picks up the foul? Danilous, because West is so clever. He gets in the first push and then jumps away. Wake Forest showing a zone right now. First time in the ball game they've shown a zone against a team that's shooting 50% from 3. This will be interesting to see whether it's West or Nelson. Carroll's sitting on the bench, so they would like to have that third perimeter shooter.
And with the leg, Danilous. Thursday on a new Survivor. It's next Thursday. The All-Stars think it's time to emerge, but what they get is a bizarre twist. Will shake up the game. Next Thursday returns to its regular time, 8/7 Central, on America's most watched network, CBS. Nelson to the line, 1-1.
St. Joe's has done a terrific job with Bryant on the floor, allowing Jones to sit over there with that 4th foul for, what would you say now, Jim, 6-7 minutes maybe?
It's been since about the 16-minute mark, so 7 minutes plus. This ties the biggest lead of the night for the Hawks.
And if you're Chris Paul, now is the time that you have got to try to take over. I realize Barley's guarding you, but you still have got to get things going for your team.
Ray, that's a fourth shot. Yep. And Nelson's underneath for the rebound.
And what's happening right now to Skip Prosser's young team is that they're losing their cool. A lot of that can be a testimony to the fact that St. Joe's really knows how to play.
Wake has been really lulled into a very sloppy stretch here, and St. Joe's is taking control of this game.
There's the 2-3 zone, and it's spread out so far that either West or Nelson, they not only don't have to shoot over this thing, they can penetrate through it.
West taken away here by Paul. Trying to go behind the back to avoid Nelson, who was whistled for that one.
Well, that showed you the athletic talent of West, because Nelson thought he had him with the right-hand dribble. Terrific job putting it on the floor, but Paul has had his problems this evening.
That's 3 on Jameer. Levy comes back to the floor with 4 for Wake Forest. And also Eric Williams back in the lineup. 1-1.
Paul, who had some sensational games this year, that 30-point game, 10 for 14, 7 rebounds against Cincinnati, a team that really went after him, and he really handled it beautifully.
2 smooth free throws right there. St. Joe's has 4 players in double figures, led by Nelson with 20. Well, this backcourt of St. Joe's has almost hit their exact averages. Nelson with 20. West has 18, Billy. How about this performance tonight?
Terrific job on their part, and they just let the game come to them. And it's something, as I mentioned, that Chris Paul will have to learn. But it's been a terrific job, and I don't want to take anything away from Barley either, Jen. I've mentioned this a number of times, what he did in the first half and what he's done defensively to take the game away from Paul has been a terrific job by the Atlantic 10 Sixth Man of the Year, and here he is with the ball right now. Wake Forest stays in the 2-3 zone. The difference now, Carroll's in the game. So you've got it surrounded by some terrific outside shooters.
Carroll, he's hit a couple big ones
gets his own.
Saved by Barley, who has 10. 10 to go along with the 38 by the starters in the backcourt.
This is a real gamble by Skip Prosser to go to the 2-3 zone. And I will be surprised if it's effective, particularly with what St. Joe's has on the floor. The other thing that really helps is no further foul trouble on the big guys.
Carroll's open in the corner. 3-point shot rattles in.
I don't think this is an effective defensive play for Wake Forest, because St. Joe's really has the team on the floor right now and taking advantage of it.
Oh boy, that was looking like a turnover all the way down the floor.
Now you can see the difference here. The experienced guys from St. Joe's taking advantage of Wake Forest gets out of that zone. That was a good move by Skip Prosser. That was not going to work against the team that St. Joe's has on the floor right now. And they're going to use a little bit of clock. Bad matchup for Wake Forest here. Danilus.
He's been setting it up. Yes, all the way. We have the largest lead of the game.
Great play by Barley. A smart play. He realized Wake Forest had a mismatch situation there, and he took advantage of it.
There's the governor of Pennsylvania, Ed Rendell, on the right, and the school president, Father Timothy Lannon, as they celebrate the Hawk surge. You know, Billy, a lot was made out of Jameer Nelson coming back to the school in June, but let's not underestimate Father Lannon coming here in the last year as the school president. He went to the Final Four last year. He's the X Factor. He was the president of Marquette last year when they made it to New Orleans and the Promised Land in college basketball. All right, St. Joe's with the largest lead of the night, 11.
Boy, Barley did a smart thing there. He hid behind Carroll and Levy and almost snuck in there to make that steal. Good pressure on the ball now.
Here's Gray spinning. Williams inside with 3 players around him. He's going to the line. We're going to check the CBS Sports Line stat of the game. And remind you can get complete tournament coverage at CBSSportsLine.com. Only 2 turnovers in this half for the Hawks.
Wake Forest really concentrated on getting the ball to this man at the start of the half. It worked out fairly well for Skip Prosser because it got the 2 St. Joe's big men in foul trouble. But Phil Martelli countered by going to the small lineup and stealing time with Bryant going out there with 4, being able to keep Jones on the bench, and now he's got him right where you like to have him the last 5 minutes of the game. Both of them still in the game without that 5th foul.
Williams brings it back under 10.
Here's what's so difficult. The zone definitely wasn't going to work against that team. Now you try to pick up full court, a team with 3 outstanding guards. Tough, because they'll break you down off the dribble.
Nelson, take him inside anytime he wants.
They will break you down with the dribble. Something Chris Paul has not been able to do this entire game.
Downey with the 3. And Levy's ready to defend that inbounds pass. Double up, back over to Carroll.
That's probably a pretty good idea. Put the ball in Carroll's hands, but then look what happens. West comes back, so you have West, Nelson, and Barley, all 3 of which can handle the ball against any defender.
West to the corner, hold on, a hold first against the Demon Deacons. It'll be a 1-and-1 Sunday on CBS. See why Cold Case. Television's most watched new drama. New episode Sunday at 8, 7 Central on CBS, America's most watched network. Justin Gray whistled for his 3rd. So 1-and-1 coming up for Delonte West.
Jim had one of the sensational games of the year at Xavier. When you start talking about having that perfect game, he certainly had it. It was just
12, huh?
Yeah, unbelievable.
33 points in that game. Did not miss
any kind of shot
from the field or the free throw line. Faces the 1-and-1 here with the 8-point lead.
Nice release on that shot. Spent hours on hours to improve his game. And there you can see that look of a team that feels that they've been had. It was kind of interesting in the NCAA tournament to see that look come up. Very confident look right here.
Back to 10-point game, 5:16 remaining, and now they bring in Dwayne Jones with the 4 foul.
Bryant did a really good job out there to save the minutes for Jones to be able to come back in.
I don't think Paul has ever experienced anything quite like this with Barley all over him when he's been in there. Nelson at times. Here's Gray, step back 3. Yes.
Down to 7, but again, you get the feeling that these guards have this game totally in control. And you see West using his body to come back in on Gray to try to pick up the foul. Time off the clock.
Oh, that pass, let's see, touched last. It's Wake ball. I thought it may have touched Levy.
Here's where, Jim, Chris Paul, the freshman who has had a nightmare of a game compared to what people were talking about him coming in here, has got to try to take over the game for his team's part.
He has hit 1 shot tonight, Billy. That was a 3 in the first half. 1 for 4. Not even getting any attempts, really, to speak of.
You see, he's not making himself hard to guard right now. He gives the ball up too easily.
Lob inside, Williams. No foul, but good power move.
And a pretty good no-foul play by Jones.
Down to 5 with 4:10 remaining.
A good idea to double up on Nelson, make him go somewhere else with it.
Nelson, 3-point shot short. Williams had the position inside.
Let's see what Paul can do in the open court.
Ray steps in, and the foul.
Oh,
he may be hurt here.
Wow. That was an unusual looking play, wasn't it, Jim?
Well, he landed awkwardly. And he's going to try to walk it off.
Yeah, he jumped up and just came down in a very awkward position. Young man, an excellent free throw shooter, 80%. Must be kind of unusual in a league as strong as the ACC to make first team all conference and not have anybody talking about you when you go into the NCAA tournament.
That's right. You can almost chalk up that first missed free throw due to the little tender ankle right here for a young man who at Oak Hill was a roommate of Carmelo Anthony. But the Demon Deacons were down 11 just a short while ago. They've trimmed it to 4, under 4 to play. The arrow belongs to Wake. Both teams in the double bonus the rest of the way. An 11-4 run here, Billy, by Wake Forest.
Interesting comeback when you take in consideration that when Skip Prosser went into that zone, St. Joe took advantage of it. He got out of it quickly. His team made a nice little comeback.
3:47 remaining to get to the Elite Eight.
I think that would have been a good time to press just on Nelson to make them throw the ball somewhere else. He is so efficient.
Nelson brings it back out. Bottom out firing. West is wide open. Off on that one. Inside tipped around. It looked like Williams had the position. And that's going to be a foul here on Paul.
There's Jones getting a terrific job. Remember, he sat over on that bench. Telly did not want to use him with the 4 fouls. Bryant did a good job playing those minutes out for him. So Jones comes up with a big rebound on the miss. You don't see that very often. West with a wide open shot.
6'11" sophomore from Chester, Pennsylvania. Coach Martelli's hometown. And he struggles at the line mightily. Look at the foul issues.
#1 shot blocker 2 years in a row in the Atlantic 10, but when you start talking about this phase of this game, it's not where he wants to be.
Got the second one, though.
Right about his average.
5-point lead. He almost not ready for that one.
But that was Paul's uncertainty with Barley. Didn't try to beat him off the dribble at all. He's been giving up the ball.
Williams back out down. He's already hit one, and this one, under the rim, not going to go. Levy with the putback. Williams reaching around for it. Jones out muscles everyone.
Levy stayed on the floor instead of bouncing back up. He might have been able to get that. Good rebound. 2 good rebounds by Jones.
All right, timeout on the floor. Timeout, St. Joe's, 73-68, 2:53.
Outside, and now you have Jones back in the game, rested to be the man that could get that key offensive rebound to keep it alive for your team. Very difficult team to press with a 3-guard offense, and as I said again, Carroll, who's been a pretty good secondary ball handler tonight on outlet passes. And all St. Joe wants to do right here is use as much clock as they can. Down inside, sets up West, getting some screens for Carroll. Here he comes.
Barley, big boost tonight coming off the bench, as he so often does for this team. 7 on the shot clock. Looking on Gray, looking for some help. 3 on the shot clock. Over to Nelson, awkwardly has to put it up. Shot clock violation, they'll bring it back inbounds. Nelson with 4 fouls, Billy. Picked up his 4th at the 3:47 mark.
The 4 fouls would be huge right now, particularly if Wake Forest could get a basket here. Because, it takes away a little bit of his ability to penetrate, Jim, to draw that charge foul for the 5th. But again, Paul just giving the ball up, not making himself difficult to guard.
Gray, 3-point shot, rattles out. That would have trimmed it to 2.
Great rebound by Jones. That's 3 big rebounds he's had since he's come off the bench. Wide open shot for Gray.
They were able to steal a lot of minutes, sitting him down with 4 fouls, and he's come back and contributed. Nelson on the drive, reach in, and nearly taken away by Downey.
Again, Nelson has to be careful there, Jim. Still enough time, 1:50 to go. You can see what a 3 could do to make that drive to the basket. I think he'd be wise to pull it back out, let West do that so he doesn't pick up his 5th foul.
Got Levy on him now, drive it in, kick out, Carroll. 3-point shot, he keeps hitting the big shots. 17 for Carroll, 11 and a half.
Terrific kick out.
And 30 on the clock. Gray off balance, puts it up, nope, and there another.
Oh, man, West put Gray on the floor. Terrific rebound by Jones again. Good steal by Gray, came from behind.
Ball driving in, and that's going to be called on Barley.
But a pretty good foul on Barley to make sure he didn't get the easy layup. Nelson never saw Paul coming from the opposite side of the floor.
I'll tell you, the steal is the only thing that's keeping Wake in the game now, because it would have been 8. It would have used up a lot of the clock.
And that three-point shot that Gray had possession or so ago, Jim, wide open 3. That was a big play.
We've gotten it down to 2.
Right.
And he hit it. 2 shots for Chris Paul. Freshman hits the first. Silky smooth at the line tonight.
Well, this is a team, as I mentioned, without a senior. You can expect this club to be back in the NCAA tournament hunt. Not to say they're completely out of it now with 1:14 to go, but a team with a lot of promise.
Strickland in for Williams.
And now what we're going to see is this offensive-defensive move. Wake Forest trying to get better matchups out there. Williams sits down. He'll probably come back in when they get the ball. And a good job by St. Joe. Say, you want to come small? I'll come small. So Jones goes out, did a terrific job.
And Stakaitis comes in. Carroll up ahead to Stakaitis. And West looking for somebody to foul him. And Gray obliges.
Wow, I don't know about that, Jim. You got a 2-possession game, 1:06 seconds to go. Why would you put a good free throw shooter on the line to stop the clock this early a time? We started talking about West, an 88% free throw shooter. You don't ever want to put him on the line with a foul like that to stop the clock. Make him give up the ball with a double team and then go get someone else. So Titus is 65% free throw shooter. The trade-off there. We got on the floor right now. Barley's an 83% free throw shooter. West is an 88% free throw shooter. Nelson right at 80% free throw. So you've got to go after somebody else. Jones back in a ball game. Both coaches now, offense, defense, substitutions.
And West hits them both.
And if you're Paul, there's Paul pushing off. That was a cheap play right there. No call made. He's got to take it to the basket.
8 down, 1 minute to play. Inside they go, Williams. Easy basket, timeout Wake.
You can see the potential he has if he doesn't get in foul trouble.
Strong kid for sure. Demon Deacons left with 1 timeout. Down 6. St. Joe's ball. What do you expect we'll see here?
Well, obviously, you've got Phil Martelli going to put a small team out on the floor with a lot of ball handlers and excellent free throw shooting team on the floor. If you're Wake Forest, big man comes out in the ball game. Henley try to make that pass difficult. If you're Wake Forest, you got to go ahead and make sure the ball doesn't go to any of the premier free throw shooters. Nelson taking the ball out of bounds, and obviously he's not going to be able to be fouled in that area. Stakaitis is probably the guy that you want to go ahead and foul if he touches it immediately.
The baseline, West.
Don't want to foul there.
West doubled up. Over to Nelson. He's got about 5 seconds to get it across. Well,
nice job.
Timeout.
Nice job by Wake Forest.
The Deacons had him smothered in the corner. Timeout, St. Joe's. We'll be right back. Well, West tried his best to get somebody to send him back to the free throw line. And then the double up on Nelson, forcing the Hawks to take the timeout.
And obviously you're in a situation here, down 6. That's 2 possessions. There's 51 seconds. The real key is the inbounds pass here. Carroll will take it out. That means that Nelson's going to come hard to the ball off of some kind of a double screen. And here he comes.
And that's going to be a foul.
And it should have been. Strickland gave him the forearm shiver. Nelson's so strong, but a nice out-of-bounds setup right here. And here you can see him coming. When Strickland sees him coming at him, he gives him the push. No question about the foul. Nelson goes down, and hopefully that's not any back problem that he might have out of that one. We saw him stretching at halftime.
2 shots. line drive back in Gray.
This is really an important shot right here when you consider 51 seconds, Jim, because you could have a 2-possession game. So you get a 3-possession game by making this free throw.
At 5:50 mark, St. Joe's led 70-59, led by 11. Now it's St. Joe's by 7. 51 seconds.
Good call. You want to take this all the way to the basket.
Right, puts it off the glass. Beautiful. Down to 5. Struggle to get lower in. And never touched by Wake, they say. It'll be Demon Deacon basketball.
Jim, that is why that foul shot was so important when you start talking about making it a 3-possession game. Ball touched no one, so it'll go out underneath the basket. I'm surprised Williams doesn't come back into this ball game right now on this possession to try to get something inside.
Oh, looking for help, gets it out.
Wide open.
This is huge. 3-pointer, yes! It's a 2-point game with 43 seconds. And timeout.
And now how big is that free throw?
Timeout, Wake. Must win 6 games to win the championship. 3 teams are halfway there. Connecticut, Oklahoma State, Alabama. Big East, Big 12, SEC, power conferences advancing tonight to the Elite 8.
Jim, obviously, if you're St. Joe's, getting the ball inbounds is the key. We just saw that before. One of the things that you could do if you had a 3 or 4 point lead is maybe to go long, because you know Wake Forest is going to try to overplay everything. Phil Martelli sets a nice setup here, leaving a lot of room, but that allows Nelson to have some space to run to the ball tight.
Keep in mind that timeout by the Demon Deacons, their last.
Wake Forest going to play it squared up. They're not going to try to foul. They're just going to try to, with the shot clock differential about 10 seconds.
Nelson driving in, misses the shot. What a huge hit back there. Can you believe it? Stakaitis, where's he been? What a huge basket. Paul driving down court. And he'll go to the line where he's been almost automatic.
Stakaitis made the foul. You might as well let him take that shot rather than take the chance for a 3-point play.
Nelson missed by a wide margin, but no one there to block out Stakaitis. Ball, though, quickly down floor, 27 seconds, he'll shoot 2.
Again, look at the setup that, huge.
Freshman jitters, one more.
Watch the setup now that Phil Martelli employs here. Keeping everybody above that foul line he did the last time, making it tough to stop Nelson coming back to the ball.
Back in the game, Danilus, Henley, and also defend the inbounds pass.
Well, you want a big guy there that's active, making the ball go up over the top.
And reach in on Downey.
Good strength. That's probably Henley, right?
It's going to be Henley. And a timeout. They call the foul, the timeout first.
Oh, they got timeout.
No timeout. No foul. Billy, here was the timeout right here.
Yeah, Jim, the reason that we didn't see it is because it was called off the ball. Now, we'll see he's calling the timeout, finally recognized. Few seconds got off the clock, or portions of a second got off the clock there. St. Joe will still have the ball down in this far end. They've got 4 players on the floor right now. The worst free throw shooter shoots 79.3%. So pretty good shape if you're St. Joe in that regard.
United breaks long and get it into Nelson. Nelson gets past the whole wave of Wake players, and he's going to the line for 2.
With a 3-point lead, going to the line for 2. He makes 1. You turn it into a tough situation for Wake Forest with 20 seconds to go.
Shoulder to shoulder. On his back, he's got a tattoo that says, "All on me. All eyes on me." And they are right now. 1 more. All eyes on the National Player of the Year.
This is really a big one, Jim, because it can make it that 2-possession game again. Misses this one, Wake Forest can come down and tie with a 3.
He's missed 2 free throws here in the last minute.
That's good.
That's the second one for the 4-point lead. Again, Wake without a timeout. Levy gets it in, barely to Strickland. Over to Paul. He's able to drive here in the late going. Looking for the three-point shot. Gray drives in. Left hand, yes. Down to 2 with 11 seconds. Wake looking everywhere. And Nelson go back to the line. Well, they almost tie it up. Tough pass gets over to West. And he's the wrong guy to put to the line, but you had to. 6 seconds to go.
Well, I think that Gray was trying to get the foul. The referee didn't call it.
They almost got a tie-up situation down there.
Absolutely. Now here you have great free throw shooter on the line. Has an opportunity to seal this game up by making 2, turning it into another 2-possession game.
4 for 4 tonight. 2 shots. All net.
Very seldom hits the rim.
Now the big one. Bounces in. 4-point game. 6.4 to go. Levy back to Paul. Pull up 3, that's short. Rebound, Barr. St. Joe's is 1 game away from the Final Four. Now 30-1 on the season. Chevrolet Most Valuable Players, Justin Gray from Wake Forest, Tyrone Barley with that huge effort off the bench, 13 points. Stellar defense. Chevrolet makes its contribution to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements, to assist those in financial need as well. It's all set now for East Rutherford. Again, plays right to the seeds. The 1 and the 2 will meet here Saturday for San Antonio. St. Joe's pulls it out here, 84-80. Greg Gumbel coming up just a moment on the road to the Final Four.